Right guys, last video was looking at this on the board, the market equilibrium point, the point that will clear the market. What we're now going to be thinking about is shifts in market equilibrium price or shifts in demand and supply and how it impacts on the market. So what we'll now do, we'll think about shifts in demand first of all. So what we'll very quickly do is to draw two market equilibrium diagrams. So we'll have D1, S1, and what we should all be familiar with now is that the market clearing price, the price that clears the market, will be the point where demand are equal to supply. So at the market equilibrium point there'll be no excess demand and there'll be no excess supply. Right, okay, now think about what we've got there. If we were to have an outward shift in demand, then what will happen is, same as before when we looked at topic 2 in demand will move outwards. Okay, now look at the problem that you now get then. If we were to go off the original market equilibrium price of P1, and what we've now got is supply at Q1 but demand's at Q2. So what we've got here is excess demand. Basically the demand is now bigger than the supply at P1. So what will now have to happen is the market will have to clear. So what it will now do, it will have to raise the market price. So what we will hopefully get is a new market equilibrium point here. Okay, and think about why. What's basically happened here is, to get to this point, we've had to have a contraction in demand, so the prices start to increase, and as that happens, we get this extension in supply. Let's think about the opposite. Inward shift in demand. Right, so this time demand will shift to the left. And look at the problem you've now got. At the original market equilibrium price of P1 Q1, supply is still at Q1, but demand is at Q2. So look at that now. We've now got a problem of excess supply. Okay, so when we have excess supply at P1, then what we should be happy with now is that firms have got a stock that they cannot sell. So to clear the market again, what now has to happen is the market price has got to fall to P2. And we end up here at this point. Okay, so we clear the market by moving to the new market equilibrium point. When you think about what's happened at P1, to clear the market now, we've had to have this contraction in supply by the price getting forced down to create this extension in demand. Now if you can draw this in exams showing these excess demand and excess supplies, then it looks absolutely fantastic and will get you good bonus points. The main thing for me though is that you can draw this. So you have the original market equilibrium points. You've got an outward shift in demand. And you've got this inward shift in demand. So we started off P1, Q1. We get a new market equilibrium point at P2, Q2 here with the inward shift in demand. We get this. Okay, so what hopefully you've picked up is that when we get this outward shift in demand, it will lead to an increase in the market price. High demand will force up the market price. Inward shift will lead to lower market price. Right, now what you've already got in your notes is, let me find it, this. So this outward shift in demand. Now you've got here lots and lots of different things that could lead to the demand increasing, therefore raising the market price. Imagine we're looking at the demand for train travel, for example. Well, why do people become more willing and able to buy or use train travel? Well, it could be because of more positive advertising. If there's big adverts on the TV, the internet, where it's going to be promoting how enjoyable train travel is, more people think, you know what, I want to do that. I want to get the kids on a train at the weekend. Better brand image. Okay, so maybe if the reliability of trains improved, the quality of trains became faster, then people will be even more appealing, but therefore be more inclined to want to use them. Think about the next one. If the cost of travelling by bus or coach or travelling by your car became more expensive, then people will shift towards travelling by train. Reduced supply of attractive substitutes. So what this could be in terms of train travel could be roads are becoming blocked up. So travelling from A to B on the roads is a flipping nightmare. More people might think, you know what, travel by train. Me, myself, when I go to a big city, I always go by train because there's a lack of available car parking in big cities. If they become even less available, we'll get an outward shift in demand for train travel again. Low price of compliments. Well, a compliment for many people for a train journey could be a day out. Day out at the seaside, it could be a day out in a big city like York or Leeds or Manchester, for example. Well, if the attractions in those cities become cheaper, more people want to do them. That might mean that more people travel by train to get there as well. Okay, so over the summer I took the kids to the Sea Life Centre in Manchester. We went on train. Okay, we only went to the Sea Life Centre because it was cheaper. Well, as it became cheaper, we wanted to go. We decided to go on the train to get there. High demand for train. Improved quality of compliments. Well, let's imagine days out at the seaside become better. Blackpool builds a new roller coaster, for example. More people want to go and see that new roller coaster. It should boost demand for train travel. Now, for me, train travel is probably going to be a normal good for most people. Okay, so as people earn more money, their demand for rail travel would start to increase. Let's look at the opposite. This decrease in demand. Okay, so what we should know is when we have a decrease in demand, the market price will fall. Let's take a different example. Let's imagine we're looking at the demand for, let's go for McDonald's. Okay, well imagine this first one. The demand for McDonald's might fall because of negative advertising. There are all them health campaigns about the dangers of eating too much fat, sugars and salts, and the danger of eating in particular too much McDonald's. If people listen to those, there'll be a lower demand for McDonald's. Negative brand image. Well, maybe it's been released that McDonald's have been found to be exploiting their workers, or supplies of burgers, for example, coming from dodgy sources. If these things happen, people think, you know what, I'm not going to go to McDonald's. Decreased price of substitutes. Well, you know, it could be KFC have got more discounted pricing. It could be that Greggs or Subway, for example, have got more promotions, cheaper prices. So it'll raise the demand for those and lower the demand for McDonald's. More substitutes. Okay, you're getting a big growth in these gourmet burger bars, for example. If these things become more popular, then more people go there. It will lower demand for McDonald's. Increased price of compliments. So I don't know, for a lot of people, maybe a McDonald's coincides with a night out, going to the cinema, for example. So if the cinema became more expensive, people think, you know what, I'm not going to go to the cinema tonight, it's too expensive. It might mean they don't have that McDonald's as well. Decreased quality of compliments. Okay, now a simple example for me here, there's a McDonald's right by the Doncaster Rovers football ground, and the queue on match day is normally out the door. So for many people, the McDonald's is a compliment to going to watch the football. Well, the football team haven't been doing very well in recent years, so less people have been going. If less people go to the football game, obviously less people go to McDonald's as well. Would McDonald's be a normal luxury or an inferior good? Well, I'm going to assume that it's going to be an inferior good. It's possibly wrong. It's possibly more of a normal good. I haven't got the data with me. But what I'm going to assume is that McDonald's is a cheap, inferior good for a lot of people. So as their income increases, they might say, you know what, I'm going to demand less McDonald's. I'm going to shift my demand towards gourmet burger bars, for example, or moving towards restaurants. Okay, now that video's taken me longer than I thought it would do, so what I'll do, we'll look at supply on the next video.